Joining me now is the co-chair of Northwest Friends of Israel, easy for me to say, Raphi Bloom. Raphi, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. We are living through absolutely extraordinary times at the moment. Is it openly anti-Semitic, do you think, that the NUS, let's be honest, pretty far-left organisation, would want to expel the Jewish Union?
I think it's just a further example at that conference to start with of the Jew hate that Jewish students experienced. You mentioned the swastikas daubed in the toilet, effing Zionists in the toilet, again as graffiti. And it just adds to the overall attempts that we're seeing to cleanse university campuses of Zionists, which we know mean Jews. And it really has similar parallels with the 1933 to 35 period in Nazi Germany. It's as simple as that.
I just don't know where Jewish students are safe at the moment. So in Amsterdam, you've got people bulldozing the pro-Palestine camp at a university. We all know what's happening in America, don't we? We've got a procession of different universities in Britain at the moment. Oxford University, which, again, I'll show people a little bit later on. I just don't think it's comfortable to be Jewish at universities anymore. And it's being compounded by the fact that you've got university lecturers and staff signing petitions in support of these middle-class fake communists.
Absolutely. Look, free speech is sacrosanct, and as a democracy, we have to protect that. But what we've seen is an unprecedented rise in campus anti-Semitism since the genocidal Hamas attacks of October the 7th. And that includes the intimidation of Jewish students, these protests that have now culminated in these encampments. They're rife with anti-Semitic rhetoric, things like from the river to the sea, Intifada, make us proud, Houthis make us proud. And they're making universities no-go areas for Jewish students. And it's absolutely shocking. And the universities need to act. A lot of these protests are taking place on university property. They could act. Overwhelmingly, they don't act. But they have a duty of care to their Jewish students to make them safe, and they're not doing that.
There is unquestionably a fear going around at the moment. When I was outside Oxford University today, or their Natural History Museum is, there were people coming up to me who were not part of this protest, young people, students at Oxford, who watched the show, who liked the channel, and as they'd come past, they'd say, they kind of whisper, oh, you know, I quite like what you do, but they didn't want the people in that encampment to see them mixing with me, because presumably they'd be excommunicated as well. There were reports there from that camp that a Jewish student had tried to enter, and because they refused to sign a piece of paper that basically said that they supported the Palestinian cause, they were turfed out. I mean, this is insane that this is happening in modern Britain.
It's all part of this narrative to demonise Zionism. And I think for your viewers, it's worth just very briefly reminding people that Zionism is the right of the Jewish people to have self-determination in their ancestral and religious homeland. And it's this framing of Zionism as colonialism, genocidal. And actually, Zionism is the antithesis of colonialism, because it's the return of a people who had been expelled by numerous colonialist oppressors for millennia. And then when you have that, and you have this unholy alliance of far-left, woke student bodies with radical Islamists on the right, who wouldn't agree on feminism, on sexuality, on religion, but come together over the Jews, it's a toxic atmosphere that is making Jewish students who have the democratic right to study on our campuses feel manifestly unsafe. And the government has spoken fine words, but they now need to act.
Nothing for me, Raphi, embodies the complete lunacy of this unholy alliance, as you so articulately put it there, as actually one thing that's happening right now in Sweden with the Eurovision issue. So, look, I absolutely don't want to, stereotype too generally here, but, there's a large demographic of the LGBTQ plus community who enjoy Eurovision, and that's fantastic. But they also appear to be doing stuff like this as well. I've just got a little clip, because this is what's happening right now, apparently, in Sweden. So we'll just play a little clip.
Free Palestine!
So that's one of the clips there, which is the Israeli act being booed on stage. There's also other reports, which we'll bring you later on. It's not reports, I've seen it, which is of, mobs, really, on the streets, and the Israeli act being told by their own security that they have to stay in their hotel. Greta Thunberg's apparently at this particular rally as well. I mean, it looks as though people are waiting for a lynching.
And they probably are. This is a young 20-year-old girl who survived a terror attack, a genocidal terror attack by an organisation who wants to murder Jews anywhere, who lives in a country which is the only democracy in the Middle East that has free sexuality, that has one of the biggest gay pride parades seen anywhere in the world every year in Tel Aviv. And you have the LGBTQ community, some of them anyway, standing proudly alongside support for what is going on for Hamas's attack against Israel. If these people went to Gaza, they would be thrown off tall buildings. It is absolute lunacy. And part of that is down to our educational institutions for encouraging it, for allowing it. But ultimately, these people are, to paraphrase Churchill, they are appeasers who feed the crocodile in the hope that it won't eat them.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And, you know, I've been to numerous pro-Palestine demonstrations at a variety of different locations. This one at Oxford today, this encampment, we're going to see some of the footage from it later. To be honest, it's right. If I was Jewish, I would. It is intimidating and it is threatening and it is disgusting. There is another aspect to it, by the way, that is just completely laughable. And I think sometimes with these people, one of the best things to do is ridicule them a little bit, because we hold a mirror up to them. You know, maybe at some point they might actually see who they are. But yeah, go on, Raphi, quickly.
You are correct in what you say. However, what we have been seeing in these encampments more and more, they start off that way in this benign sort of wokey, peaceful way, but they are being infiltrated by actors from the outside who wish to radicalise them and make them more violent and more extreme. And that is where the universities have to act. Yeah. And they're not at the moment.
Well, yeah, and that has happened. That's absolutely happened. Look, Raphi, thank you very much. You take care. All the best. That's Raphi Bloom there, who's the co-chair of Northwest Friends of Israel. Right, look, in a statement, the